Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 18th part of What If Deku Was a Magical Girl Mascot, Quirk, Magical Girl Mascot. The author of this great fanfic is Emma. I believe links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 18, Endeavor's Reaction. Izuku just stared at Endeavor. It didn't help with his conversation earlier that day. It also didn't help that Katsuki was glaring at Endeavor extremely harshly. "Bakugo, please leave," muttered Aizawa. "What?" yelled Bakugo. "This discussion should be between the staff, the two involved and the parents of the two," said Aizawa. "I'm involved in this whether you like it or not," yelled Katsuki. "I'm sorry, but it's better for you to leave," sighed Nizu and turned to Izuku. "However, I'm sure there's a way you can help without being in here." Izuku nodded and knew it was his way to saying it was okay to have his telepathy open. "Fine," yelled Katsuki. She gave Endeavor one last glare before leaving. "Should he be in here?" asked Endeavor, looking at All Might. "I am a teacher, and I was the one to find young Midoriya after this crisis," said All Might, holding on to the small animal boy who still wasn't in the mood to change into his human form. The hallway, Achiko, Tsuyu and Ida all arrived just as Katsuki left the room. "Is he alright?" asked Achiko. "Hasn't turned back human," muttered Katsuki. "Also, they just kicked me out. It's an important meeting and I can't be a part of it." "Even though you've been part of it since the beginning?" asked Ida. "Yeah," muttered Katsuki. "Hey, I'm sorry for worrying you." Izuku's voice appeared to most of them thanks to telepathy. "It's fine," thought Achiko. "You just used your quirk like that in front of so many people accidentally. We can't blame you for running away," thought Tsuyu. "And you're not the one to blame," thought Katsuki. "Katsuki," hissed Inko. "It's fine," thought Todoroki. "He told me not to touch it, but I did anyways. I'm the one who made the mistake." It surprised that Achiko and Tsuyu that Todoroki still sounded like a guy. If you're wondering about the voice, I think it's because he's still mentally a guy that his mental voice is still one, thought Katsuki. "Remember, I turned into a girl when I was little. We should really pay attention to this conversation," pointed out Izuku. Back in the waiting room. "So tell me why my son is now a girl," muttered Endeavor. "It's my quirk. It's called Magical Girl Mascot," explained Izuku. "It lets me form bonds with people. If that person is male, it turns them into a girl." "How do we break it?" asked Endeavor. "It's permanent," said Aizawa. Endeavor glared at Izuku, and All Might, who was still holding him, tightened his grip a little to reassure Izuku that it was fine. "The bond is beneficial," said Nizu. "That costume created from the bond gives his quirk quite a boost. Drawbacks have been lessened while the quirk itself has been strengthened." "Really now?" asked Endeavor, who seemed interested. "Of course he'd focus on that," thought Todoroki with her eye twitching. "Though I should note that Midoriya also now has a copy of your daughter's quirk," said Nizu. "Is this true?" muttered Endeavor. Izuku nodded. "Prove it then," said Endeavor. Izuku looked at All Might, who let him go. He turned into his human form and activated Todoroki's quirk. He created a small amount of ice on his right side and created a small flame on his left side. Endeavor's eye narrowed at Izuku. "So that's how you copy quirks," muttered Endeavor. The three teachers and one mother in the room all noticed Endeavor's reaction. "You better either show him to properly use his fire or not show him up," muttered Endeavor. "Endeavor?" asked All Might. "What do you mean by that?" asked Nizu. "It's nothing," muttered Endeavor. Todoroki gritted her teeth. "Of course," she thought. "He's more upset by the fact that Midoriya has my quirk than the fact that my life was turned upside down." She couldn't help but to think about all the suffering that she suffered by her father's hand, including what happened to her mother and pain she went through. However, as she thought about those memories, she didn't know that others in the bond saw those memories. What the fuck? Thought Katsuki, being the first one to snap out of it after seeing them. What? Asked Todoroki, confused. We saw your memories, explained Tsuyu. What? That can happen? Asked Todoroki, surprised. We didn't know until now, thought Izuku. It makes sense, considering it's just been me and Auntie for the past 11 years. Muttered Katsuki, we don't exactly have the chance to share memories. Outside the waiting room, Ida noticed that the three girls were pale from getting those memories. Are you okay? Asked Ida. It's something that happened to Todoroki, explained Achiko. Ida sighed at that. However, inside the waiting room, Inko was shaking in a mixture of sadness and anger. And that was when she let it out. She grabbed her necklace. Everyone watched as her clothes turned into a pink and green dress, with the top being a carnation pink and having a somewhat frilly green skirt. She wore a pair of green bracelets on her wrists and had carnation pink shoes. In her hair was carnation pink streaks and her gem was on her forehead. She then pulled Endeavor towards her and slapped him, much to the shock of everyone in the room. You're a monster, she cried. What happened? Asked Katsuki, feeling the shock and anger coming from the room. Moam just slapped Endeavor, mentally yelled Izuku. What? Asked Achiko. Are you serious? Asked Tsuyu. All right, Auntie, cheered Katsuki. Now's not the time, thought Inko. Why you? Growled Endeavor. Endeavor glared at Inko but then saw that his flames were put out. Turned out Aizawa had used his quirk on. Mrs. Midoriya, can you please explain? You slapped Endeavor, muttered Aizawa. However, he as well as All Might and Nizu knew whatever just happened had to be serious. I didn't know it was possible to share memories, but Todoroki just shared memories with us, said Inko. Sharing memories, said Endeavor suspiciously. Nizu glared harshly at Endeavor, and despite being a small animal, the glare was far more than one thing possible. I saw his memories of Endeavor beating him, said Inko. It's training, said Endeavor. So does training involve hurting him until he vomits? Does training involve hurt your wife physically and emotionally until she snaps? Asked Inko. It was clear she might end up attacking him again. All Might got in between the two. Is this true, Todoroki? Asked Aizawa. Todoroki's eyes winded. Izuku looked at Todoroki, who wasn't sure how to respond. You're not alone anymore, thought Izuku. Deku's right, thought Katsuki. We'll help you, thought Achiko. We're here for you, thought Tsuyu. Todoroki looked at Inko, who nodded. It's true, muttered Todoroki. Shouto, yelled Endeavor. Young Todoroki, young Midoriya, perhaps it would be better if you left, said All Might. Okay, said Izuku. Todoroki nodded. Both of them left the waiting room. Izuku decided to turn off telepathy as it was better for the moment. What's going on? Asked Ida. I told them that what you saw was true, said Todoroki. Ida's not part of it, said Achiko with a sweat drop. Todoroki looked at Ida. Leg Day is great at keeping secrets, considering he knew that Auntie is working here and the whole turning into a girl thing, said Katsuki. All right, said Todoroki. He told Ida the truth, and Ida was extremely pale once he was finished. To know that the number 2 hero was capable of such things, said Ida. Hey, you okay? Asked Achiko. I'm fine, said Todoroki. Deku, said Katsuki. Izuku turned into his animal. Katsuki picked him and forced him into Todoroki's arms. What? Asked Todoroki. It's okay, said Izuku. I don't. He gets it, said Tsuyu with a sweat drop. Yeah, sighed Ochako. In the waiting room, things were tense. Fine, that's what I'll do, however I will still be allowed to take in interns, said Endeavor. Fine, muttered Nizu. We all know if we bar you, it will raise questions. But remember, it her choice, said Aizawa. She might not choose you. Endeavor sneered and then stormed out of the room. Shoto, he said, looking at his now daughter. Yes? Asked Todoroki. I'm going to be moving out for the time being, said Endeavor. Please keep up with your training on your own. What? Yelled Katsuki. Calm down, said Izuku. I will, muttered Shoto. Also, I will be calling Fuyumi to teach you things about being a girl, muttered Endeavor. Endeavor then stormed off. The other four left the room as well. Okay. Seriously, what gives? Yelled Katsuki. Unfortunately, due to reason, we can't arrest him, sighed Nizu. As much as I want to throw the book at him, it's because it's the number 2 hero, muttered Todoroki. That and another reason, sighed Inko, blushing. As she used her quirk in helping her slap him, he could have named her a villain, muttered Aizawa. What? Cried Izuku in shock. I couldn't control myself, said Inko. Even if we had helped her, the legal battle still would have brutal, said Nizu. People would most likely be on her side considering everything, but for the time being, muttered Aizawa, who clearly need either a drink or a nap, probably both. So we're part of a cover-up, said Tsuyu. Pretty much, sighed Katsuki. I'm sorry about this, said Inko, blushing. Actually, I think we should be lucky you didn't use your powers to rip his balls out, said Katsuki. Katsuki, scolded Inko, blushing. Actually, I agree with Bakugo. If what you saw correct, I believe it's fortunate that all you did pull him towards you so you could slap him, said Nizu, though at the same time unfortunate. Everyone who didn't know Nizu that well stared at him in horror, i.e., the students and Inko. Well, everyone but Katsuki. Thank you, said Katsuki. Todoroki, if you wish to quit the rest of the sports festival, I'm sure everyone will understand, said Nizu. No, I will, continued, said Todoroki. Are you sure? Asked Izuku as she was still holding him. I'm sure. I need to do this, said Todoroki. Todoroki, should I win my next match, I will give it my all against you, vowed Ida. Todoroki nodded. Speaking of which, the break is almost over, said Aizawa. Oh, you're quite right, said Ida. He speed walked away. He would have ran, but it was against the rules. Inko, if you wish, you can spend the rest of the sports festival with Class 1A, said Nizu. Thank you, said Inko. I guess that secret is coming out too, said Tsuyu. It's minor compared to the big one, said Katsuki. Come on, Todoroki, said Ochako. Wait, said Todoroki. It's better to see their reaction now and later, said Katsuki. She felt Izuku fidget nervously. It's going to be fine, said Inko. Todoroki sighed and knew that she needed to get the reactions of their classmates as they headed to the box. You know, it would be weird to call you by your family name from now, said Ochako. What? Asked Todoroki. She does have a point. Whenever Izuku opens it, we will be reading each other's minds, pointed out Tsuyu. Okay, muttered Todoroki, or rather Shoto, knowing that it was going to be hard with that. Izuku sighed as they headed to the box, unsure what of the class reactions will be. After all, it was a big deal, and it wasn't just his problem but also Katsuki and Shoto's as well. At least the three of them weren't alone in this. But helpfully, it wouldn't be like in the past, and that their reactions would match everyone else's. Or at least not everyone in class, but they just had to wait and see. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 19. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.